and welcome back to my fourth and final update on my self-published book. In my last video I explained how you can do this on your own, so if you haven't watched them, please go and check them out. But to sum up quickly, I followed a few steps to go from an idea to this. The first thing I had to do was to come up with a concept. What's my book going to be about? And at the time, the answer for me was creatures. As I always have drawn pretty girls and I wanted to get out of my comfort zone, so I did. I thought, creatures would be in my comfort zone but still tackle that issue where I feel like I was making things that are too pretty. The next thing I decided was how long I wanted it to be. As Inktober was approaching, I decided to make a challenge for myself for Inktober, the challenge that comes around each year where you make things in grayscale or with inks, and I made my own prompt list. So I did the whole 31 characters in grayscale initially, as doing this challenge in colour from the get-go would have killed me. I was already spending 2 to 7 hours per day in the Inktober, so doing colour would have just been too much. So instead, I finished colouring them in November, when I had that much needed break from my already 2 to 7 hours drawing per day in October. In the end, I had the finished 31 illustrations for my book, and I was able to cut out the ones I didn't like the look of, and didn't bother to colour because I didn't like them. So at this point I had my illustrations, my book idea, and it was ready to be assembled. So one of the last questions I had is, how do I source this? And so I went online and I found a local retailer that does saddle stitched books. They're the kind of books that have staples down the middle. You might have seen variations of them as pamphlets in other places. I know I have before this, but I ended up choosing this version ultimately because it was cheaper and I wanted to keep costs down for when I do eventually sell this book at conventions. Great, so at this point I had my illustrations, where to source it, and now I just needed to put the darn thing together. This meant using a program to eventually create a PDF for printing. The most common one I see people use is InDesign, and it's the only one I've had personal experience with using before, so that was my choice. Then I was able to put in my characters in a nice little group setting for the front page, add in my table of contents, my main page elements, and my illustrations where I wanted them. This took me about 2 days in total before I was able to send it off to my local printers. So after I'd finished the PDF book, I was able to send it off to them, making it the quickest part of this process. I had the order sent out to them and it was out back to me in 2 days, an absolutely crazy good time where I am. And at this point I had only ordered one book to make sure everything was correct before I felt comfortable enough to buy a load of them to sell. However, when I got my package I got 3 books. I don't know if this is a standard thing in the industry, but please let me know if this is normal or a mistake on their part. I also got a pack of Haribo gummies in the package, though I ate them before I remembered I should film this bit. But I would rate them 10 out of 10 just for the gummies and the quick shipping. They were excellent, the printing looks great, but with the samples coming through I noticed there were some bits in the printing that needed to be fixed. None of the printer's fault, just a couple of issues with some of the colours needed to be brightened and saturated a tiny bit. I also noticed that there was a white line on the front of the book where I didn't get the texture across properly. My bad. And the back, I didn't realise I made the black bar on the wrong side. So with this I went through each page and noted what I wanted to change, and then went back into the PDF file and made those small changes that it needed. With that finished, it was time to make my first order of books to sell at the convention I'll be at on the 21st of this month of January. Yes, I will be going to Dublin MegaCon this year, and it will be my first convention as someone with a stall, so I'm super excited and nervous. So if you'd like to meet and support me, I will be at booth AB5 in the Creator Village. Anyways, I sent off the last order and got my new and improved books just a few days ago. And that's about it. When someone tells you that it takes a while to make a book, they're not lying. This project took me about a total of 3 months to get finished, and I'm just really happy I was able to get it finished before my self-imposed deadline. If I could get this book printed with a hardback cover, or even get someone to look at it in the publishing industry, I would think that would make my entire 2023 year, even though it's just beginning. I think it could be absolutely gorgeous in hardcover format. Is there anything I would change? Of course, as I have more experience at the end of this than in the beginning. There are a few changes I would make, however I am happy to say that it's finished, and sometimes it's important to note that it just has to get finished, it doesn't have to be perfect. If you would like to order this book, I have put a link in the pre-order on my website and will send them out after the convention is over. Bear in mind that shipping may be more expensive depending on where you live, but thanks for following me on this journey, and everyone who has supported me in ways like leaving a comment, sharing my video, or even just liking my posts, I thank you, it really does help. I can't wait to keep sharing what I create with you all next, and again thank you all for the support. I hope to see you all in the next one, and to see you all on the 21st of January there in the MegaCon in Dublin. If I can't see you then, thank you for supporting me online, it really does make a difference and I appreciate every single one of you. Thanks for joining me, I'll see you all in the next one and take care. Bye!